and welcome to episode 3 of the Root of It All podcast. This is a podcast produced by Bosworth Garden Centre. In this episode, we speak to the planteria ladies about what it's like working in horticulture. We also ask our experts about pest control and planting precautions for this time of year. So, without further ado, let's get to it. We are here today, we've got Debs, Miriam and Lisa, and me, Rosie, of course. And we're just going to talk a bit about working in horticulture, and especially being a female working in horticulture. Just wanted to talk a bit more about everyone's experiences and how it's been, because you've all been in a long time. So, yeah, Debs, you're to the left, so you're going to go first.
Sitting here around the cauldron, as we are.
About the cauldron, yeah. Obviously, you've been in horticulture for a while, so do you think it's come a long way with the discrimination side, or...?
I think there are still pockets.
Yeah.
I notice more rudeness from people in general rather than sort of sexist. I don't think the sexist comments are around like they were used to get whistled and all that sort of.
Gets bullied a little bit, just to try sort of get this, like test them.
Yeah.
But I think you need to be quite strong in the industry and let's just brush it off. You could do what anybody can do.
Yeah.
Horticulture, and
I think women have made it better for themselves, because before, if there was bags of compost or whatever, I might have said, if no one was around, I'll just get somebody. Whereas sometimes now I think, just for speed, I'll just throw it into the trolley. It doesn't matter. And I think we're better at doing that kind of thing. Probably the worst thing is sometimes if a male's around, a customer might approach them thinking that they have generally more knowledge, whether that's done on a conscious approach or not, I don't know. And then they're quite surprised when you turn around and start giving them information.
Know what you're talking about.
I think one of the things they come up to you and they go, "Oh, do you know anything about plants?"
Yes,
and I think
a favourite. I should have had £1 for every time that's been said.
I just sweep the floor.
Just a pretty face.
women have got quite strong in the industry.
Yes.
And they've made a mark. Like there's quite a few, like the lady that does the seeds.
Rachel, not Rachel Tatane, but you're talking about.
Carol Klein. Yes, I think she's had a really positive influence on gardeners and gardening. Although it's obviously still predominantly ruled by Monty Dunn.
Yes.
Fair play. But it's nice to see, as
definitely
you say,
more women like on the
it's
television.
Yeah.
In roles, in gardening roles, isn't there?
I mean, before, what did we have, like, in the sort of 60s, Percy Thrower?
Charlie Titchmarsh. No.
Charlie. You've got to
Charlie Dimmock. Charlie Dimmock, yeah.
Alan Titchmarsh.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It would be interesting to see if we get a female sort of lead gardener, head gardener sort of thing in years to come.
Yeah.
We are very good at multitasking, I must say.
Yes.
I don't know. That's one thing. With the horticulture industry, one needs to just, as I say, go with the flow and enjoy every minute of it. It is obviously a month, or it's one of those things which it has been up until now a man's domain, because everybody's done nursery work and it's the nursery men, and as we look at that.
I mean, when I was gardening, the lady in question liked me in the garden because I had a smaller footprint, so that was a very positive thing. No, that was just her opinion.
Yeah,
I think we've got the decorative flair, which is what, if you want to do horticulture, you have to have that little bit of a touch and putting things together and enjoying it. And I think sometimes, I don't say men don't, they can be very good. It's very much similar to like being a chef at the end of the day. You have you've got all the ingredients, it's just to make a nice dinner.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying before about how the industry's changed, and I think it definitely has changed and changed for the better. Like I say, there was a lot more male managers of the garden centres, and there weren't so many female, probably definitely in the 80s and that. And that's definitely changed a lot. There's many more women who manage, and it's not just gardens, it's nurseries across the board in horticulture, I think. So you definitely notice that.
Look at Chelsea as well, haven't you? Places like when they do the
gardens. Now it's not just male.
Lots
Yeah.
of women. Great
Yeah, they do,
designers.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, at least we're featuring in the rose world. I mean, there's loads of beautiful flower roses that's been named after women.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because it's quite a physically demanding job, isn't it? So I think that's probably where some of it's come from.
Yes.
That women can't lift or
We
aren't
get
quite
too
as
cold
strong or-
outside.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot, don't we, Liz?
Yeah.
Sort of,
Yeah.
you must be freezing out here.
Yeah.
You're
And
used to it, aren't
and then
you?
in the summers, it's like, oh, this must be a great job. We're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Our shirt sleeves on.
Yeah.
And I think you saying about physically demanding definitely is. I think people sort of see the side that you're, moving plants around and weeding and perhaps, top dressing or whatever we're doing, depending on the time of year. But then, we are moving benches and it's compost and, helping customers with heavy stuff.
Yeah.
We don't shy away from that. And, we get trolley after trolley of plants come the spring.
Stamina,
I mean, a trolley
you
of
need a lot of
roses weighs a
stamina.
lot, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
it
when we get
does.
them in, they've been watered. And we're not on a flat level site here either.
No.
So we've got a nice little hill to go up with the roses, and that can be a killer from time to
Yeah,
time. You know
definitely.
you've done a workout by the time you get home.
Yeah.
You definitely don't need a gym membership at all.
No.
Because
You can clock up 20,000 steps in a
Yeah.
day when we get really
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah.
'Cause
Easily.
it's quite a way, isn't it, from here to the nursery as well? So it's,
Yeah, where all our deliveries are coming as well. And like you say, because we've only got our own nursery, obviously all the plants from down there. Yeah, we definitely clock
I
up.
think as a female team as well, we're quite a friendly bunch.
Oh, God, yeah.
We would like to think that, we could be easily approached and offer good plant advice.
Well, you definitely see that with the customers that come in, though, don't they? They all come up, you smile, you say hello, and they'll always ask you questions.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you have to say hello first to them, perhaps occasionally, but after that, they'll probably come back to you and go,
Yeah.
"Oh, can you help me with such and such, or
Yeah.
have you got such and such?"
It's breaking the ice, isn't it?
Yes,
It
yeah.
is, but yeah, we get a lot of nice people in and regulars as well, so you do
Yeah.
get quite a nice rapport.
Yeah, definitely
a lot
regulars,
of the
don't we?
time.
The best
yeah.
in is just pet the dog.
Yeah. We always love it. Most someone comes in with dogs. Yeah.
I love the babies as well. Babies. But yeah, dogs get a good
Yeah, they do,
reception
don't they?
here.
Yeah.
But Sam and Tanya love the dogs as
Yeah,
well.
they,
so
get, they get a biscuit at the tills. Girls at the tills have a little biscuit stash for them.
Biscuits for
Bring
the
your dogs in.
So I'm going to ask each of you, what's your favourite part about working in the industry? We'll start with you, Lisa.
Oh, favourite part.
Yeah.
Well, what did I say last time?
No, there wasn't a last one. Oh no!
I've ruined it.
So we had technical issue again.
No. Oh, sorry, Rosie. Sorry. I think really it's the seasons because definitely this time of year, which is obviously spring, it's just so nice to see the lighter days and the new stock coming in, fresh stock, bright colours.
I would say the decorative aspect
Yeah.
of putting things together, putting plant colours together, doing a display, and also sales and marketing. That's for me.
Yeah. So do you, like, when you're putting together a display, do you do it and sort of think, I kind of want that now?
Oh yes, yes. It's all about enticing and the customers and getting them. And if you have good products and beautiful colours, it's actually easy to make a nice display. And
Yeah.
people pick up on that, and that's the satisfaction I have when doing something, and then people say, "Oh, that's amazing."
Yeah.
You know,
You're like,
so that's good. Yeah, and it's just a change of scenery because every day is different. You could change, and every new delivery has got some nice exciting things.
Yes.
And I have to physically tie my hands behind my back and think, no, I'm not buying that.
Got no more room. Yeah.
So that's what I enjoy, and it's just
Yeah.
constant changing and being outdoors.
Yes. Yeah.
Being
being in the
outdoors,
outdoors.
that's a big one.
Yeah. Debs.
And for me, it's probably new stock, seeing what's new, sort of in the seasons. Earmarking the things that I would like to take home.
Yeah.
And the quality of the stock. We have really lovely things. So, good plants.
What would you say has kept you in the industry?
Plants are a passion. You get bitten by the bug, and it just stays with you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a love of plants. And when we get the regular customers in, you haven't seen someone for 6 months and you get chatting about the gardens and stuff. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice. and we have a good team here, so
Yeah.
that definitely helps. We're very friendly, as I was saying. So
Yeah.
definitely
Okay.
that bit.
I would say it's diversity, because you could basically go into anything. You can go into horticultural sales, horticultural pest control, you can go into tree felling, you could go to indoor plants. So there's such a lot of industries that you could actually enjoy and still be in the horticulture, under the horticulture umbrella.
Yeah, so you can branch out
Absolutely.
to something else.
Absolutely.
If you get
So
bored or
yeah, you chop and I've been doing quite a few bits of horticulture and different aspects of horticulture, which is great, and then ended up back in retail. But
Yeah.
I mean, you can chop and change, and if you get tired, and as you get older, you basically do things. You slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that, like floristry and stuff like that, which is also something that you can do, which is a little bit more quieter.
Yeah, not quite as labour intensive.
Exactly.
Lisa, what's kept you?
I think, as you know, talking, we're all very similar with the passion and everything, but also the fact that it's always different.
Yeah.
Because of the seasons, there's always something different going on. You're not doing the same job as much as it is putting plants out, displaying plants and serving the customers. It's always different. It varies every day, whether that's customers or what you're actually doing in the garden centre. So I think it's just interest. It's never boring.
Yeah.
And we're always busy. We're always got something to do. There's never a time when we're thinking of what we're going to do next. There's a job to do. Whether it's maintenance, whether that's just to do with the benches, or whether it's sweeping or changing stock around, moving benches outside because of the time of year. I think that just keeps you sort of on the ball, really. Yeah.
And Christmas is good, isn't it? The run up to Christmas, preparing the wreaths and all that sort of stock. And having the trees in as well, that makes it smell glorious, and it looks so amazing.
It's incredible.
So if there are people out there that haven't been down at Christmas, that's I would say a really magical time here.
Yeah,
and it does rub off a little bit. Although the singing reindeer
after a while.
Christmas, it's really good, and you can feel the excitement with the little ones sort of when they come in. And, so that's really nice.
Do you think it's important to have a creative flair in horticulture?
I think an eye for detail here, and you have to be pretty meticulous. We want to offer their good products. We want to show them in the best possible light. So I think that
is important, isn't it? I mean, we've all got different things we're good at, so that comes
I think
across,
if designing a garden, you need to definitely, because you need to know the sizes of the plants, the colour schemes, the different growth aspects, heights, and that type of thing.
I think definitely our displays that we do sells our plants.
Oh God, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, people will come in, they have set things that they will come in for, but I think it gives people ideas. The colour, we always try and make sure we've got plenty of colour under the covered area by the front. I mean, at this time of year, it smells amazing as you walk in.
Yeah, it really does.
It's coming out now, but I think that really helps. So I think we're all really good at that, and we make sure that's there. We make sure we do look good always. Yeah.
I think it's texture as well, isn't it? Because, like, for me, I wouldn't say I'm a non-gardener. I do love gardening, but I don't know a lot. Even, like, looking to my right now, we've got sort of your Hebe type things and your grasses, and pairing those sort of things together, you wouldn't necessarily, if a plant was just on a shelf, you wouldn't think,
a row of
I'll
same
put that
plant.
with that. Definitely.
Yeah.
So it's important, isn't it?
Well, obviously we've got our A to Z of plants outside, so people have got set minds and know what they want, then they can go to that. But under here, I think it just gives people a really good idea what they can. Like you say, what you noticed is quite interesting, because you noticed obviously different to what we noticed in a way as well.
Yeah.
And I think there's a bit more overlap. The last sort of couple of years, we've liaised a lot more with the giftware staff, and so they come out and help with displays and give us like new ideas and things. So often it's sort of an amalgamation of people's ideas and sort of getting it set up. That's helped a lot as well. And then obviously if they use a few of our plants, we have to obviously keep an eye on their waters properly.
Yes.
So it's a bit of a two-way street, but it's quite nice, sort of, we're all working for the same
working together.
Good kind
And
of
don't
thing.
forget horticulture, we've also got interior plants, which are amazing.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's something that's really taken off
Yes,
well
it
with the
has.
youngsters.
Yes.
Because everybody's going off to uni and they all want something for, in there.
having it
So
indoor.
that's a good way to start them off and make them interested.
Yeah, because like the air purifier and things are a really big thing with the house plants at the moment.
Brilliant.
You know,
Yes.
good for you to have them in the house. It's good for your well-being as well. So, you know, I think the house plants have definitely took off the last few years, hasn't it?
Yeah, very good.
It's good for people who don't like to venture outside
Yes.
too much.
I love my
Still
houseplants.
house plants.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, a garden is basically something that you can relax in.
Yeah.
It sells your house. It's the first imprint. If you come to somebody's house, there's always something. Oh, that's amazing! You know, it's something to look forward to if you've got a nice garden, especially in summer.
Yes.
And people do give a lot of attention to that. So it's nice to be in the industry. I would say, with regards to young people that are interested, go for it. There's always something that you can deviate from there and go into sales. As I say, you can go into interior decorating, because that's something where you need plants. So there's always something that you can do with horticulture.
It's very diverse, isn't it?
It's really diverse.
Fair.
It is,
Like
yeah.
you've got, like I say, you've got the retail side, you've got the landscaping side, you've got the office based,
You've got the
like
growing
marketing,
side.
you've got the nursery side. So
Yeah.
it is actually a
Yeah.
wicked career, isn't it?
It is a
for-
wicked career.
Yeah.
For younger
And I think a lot of people as well don't always just do one part of it.
Yeah.
You find that most people who are in this industry, in the plant area, they've done other parts of it.
Yeah.
Whether that's a wholesale nursery or like Miriam interior,
Absolutely.
and Deb's with gardening. So we've all, that's the other good thing when people come in and ask questions about their garden. We've all done gardening,
Yeah.
so we understand how the plants work. We've not just worked in the garden centre itself.
And I think with the green industry, which is something that we're looking at the minute, it's important to just push the boat out and make sure that everything.
Just have some plants in the
have
garden.
plants and
Yeah.
plants and hug a tree.
Yes, hug a tree a day, a bit of serotonin. So garden questions then. I've got a few questions for you guys. So how would you protect your garden from frost or any new growth from frost? Do you need to do it, or is it we're looking at you, Miriam.
Obviously, frost has its good and its bad aspects. So if it is a good thing for some plants, because they need the frost to get them growing and giving them a burst of new growth. Some others obviously not, and therefore you need to make sure you protect them, either by covering them or putting them in a greenhouse, or even undercover.
Yeah.
But that's the most important thing, I would
The
think.
other good thing about frost, which we don't often think about, or cold, is to get rid of all the insect life that's tried to survive over winter. And when we've had these mild winters, we're having a lot of problems with aphid very earlier on. But hopefully this year we'll see what happens. But it's been for a few years where people have come in very early on and said, well, you know, my roses are covered in aphid, and it's like March, and you're thinking, God, that's so. It is good to have frost for that reason as well. Like Miriam said, you can protect, so fleece, rapid fleece, depending on what the plant is.
But a period of cold as well allows the plants to rest as well.
Yes.
It's just a natural sort of way through the season. You know, everything shuts down and needs to.
I think nature dictates anyways.
Yeah.
Just whatever you can, you just have to make sure that you go with what it's...
Roll with it.
Roll with it, absolutely.
I suppose if you've got individual plants in the garden that need protection, you could always use an upturned plant pot.
Yeah.
Something like that, sort of, if they're dotted around the garden, that was a problem.
Come on, Simon, come and answer some questions with
Come and
us.
sit in here.
Hello. Sit in the hut.
you sit
I can
down.
squat.
Oh, here we go, argument.
So Simon's joined us for questions as well. Hello, Simon.
Hello.
Simon's been on his lunch break.
Not that long. I've been working.
3 hours, was it?
You caught me out. Damn, you caught me out.
The other thing I want to talk about is, when should you start thinking about slug prevention?
Depends if you get slugs. Depends on the soil. If it's wet conditions, then you may likely get more. But it depends what's around, where you are. I mean, if you've got any hedgehogs, or if you get lots of birds in the garden, so they will just scoop up a lot of them.
Yeah.
So you might not suffer. If you do suffer, then try and be as ecologically friendly as possible.
Yeah. It's important, isn't it?
Yeah, I
with
think the problem over the last few years especially is that a lot of the slug pellets are not particularly friendly to wildlife, and people saying, not seeing so many things like hedgehogs and birds in their garden, and that is one of the main reasons. There's no two ways that is definitely, we need to change our habits on slug pellets, I think.
Yeah.
I think you were saying, Simon, that it's something, an ingredient not in slug pellets now.
Yeah, there's no metaldehyde.
Ah, there you go.
Metaldehyde.
Was it
is-
metaldehyde? Sounds right.
Yes, sounds right. I'm sure someone will put us right if we're wrong, but... yeah.
So a lot of slug pellets are pet friendly now and animal friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Would be
you know-
aware what you're buying.
yeah,
really.
so
Yeah.
that's.
If you,
but-
if you can do without, do without.
Yeah.
But you can also get slug traps. So you can put in slug traps in the ground. Put in some old beer. Stale beer is best. They seem to like a tipple, so they'll go into that. And then you put them on your bird table for the birds to have.
Well, organically, you could use a lot of grit.
Yes.
If you've got pots, you can use copper tape around the pots. That's a good
Holly
slug
leaves.
repellent.
Holly leaves, yeah.
Holly leaves.
Eggshells.
Anything spiky that will they won't like to cool
Irregular
over.
surfaces, yeah.
Yeah. Sand as well. That's another one because I don't like that on the.
Yeah, and somebody was saying coffee grind, which which
Okay.
I've tried on my vegetables, and it does work, but you need to keep it up because obviously it needs to be quite a thick layer.
Okay.
Oh, and wool pellets as well.
Oh yes, I've used wool
Yes.
pellets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's supposed to be quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it too early to start planting?
Depends what you're planting and where you're going to plant it.
I would like to plant a camellia.
Oh, the camellias you're looking at now.
Yeah, those.
Just starting to emerge.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good choice actually. I mean, you can use them. It's a good evergreen plant. Nice colour at this time of year. It depends on the situation. If you're going to plant them in a pot, then they will be fine because you need ericaceous compost. So you could do that. Put them in a bigger pot. Put it by your front door or your back door. Semi-shade would be ideal. If you're going to go in the ground, just be aware of frost in the ground. So if there is any, then you'd hold fire until it starts to warm up at night. Make sure there's a few nights when there's no cold, and then that should thaw the ground out, and you should be fine.
Okay. I always forget because pots, to me, I think it's more exposure, but it's not, is it? Because you're above that ground level. It's actually protecting from the frost rather than exposing.
I mean,
it to-
they will freeze if you water them too much at
Yeah.
this time of year, and it's something to be careful of. But if you just keep plants damp, you just keep your eye on them, water them once every 10 days or so, a little bit of lukewarm water, so it's not icy cold, so it doesn't shock the root system, and that should be fine.
Amazing.
It's bulb season as well, and we have a
Yes.
lot of bulbs in pots, which you could quite easily transfer into the garden as well.
Sure.
Hello.
Hello, do you want to join in? No, Gillian's just run off.
Gillian.
Going to join in.
Gillian.
So what are you
with
guys chatting about then?
Chatting about
women in horticulture,
Yeah, we were doing women in horticulture actually.
Okay.
About all the differences over the years.
and
How
I've
it's
just got
changed.
Yeah.
How you've seen them change.
We have, yes.
Yeah.
there's lots of change because, like we were discussing at a previous time, when I first started and maybe Lisa at the same time, it was a more male-dominated career.
Yeah.
In the past, and whether that goes back. I've been thinking about this recently.
Have you?
Yeah.
I don't know what spiked that.
No, I don't know either. No, just sort of one.
What are you chatting about?
I think I had an epiphany.
Maybe it's been sitting between the roses.
Yeah, maybe. They used to term nurserymen as, nurserymen, growers of plants, who would grow often in fields, would be called nurserymen. And I think that was just as it was,
Yeah.
and it was a male-dominated,
Industry.
industry. But it's good that more and more women are involved.
Yeah.
They can put their touch and their expression across.
Yeah.
If you look at what we do here, that mainly the women that work out in the planteria do the displays, and make a really good job of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people comment on it. And I dare say if I did one, they'd all look at it and thought,
Oh, I'd have to take it to bits, mate.
yeah, well,
Joking.
I'm not saying another word.
Stock answer.
But also, there have been some women in horticulture down the years. I mean, you've got to look at Beth Chatto, yes.
Yeah,
There's
she's been about
there was Bunny Guinness, who was a famous designer, and she won a lot of golds at Chelsea.
Yeah.
You know, there's so there's been plenty.
What's that other lady who does the
There's Gertrude Jekyll.
That's what I'm thinking.
Beta Sackville West?
Yeah.
Yes, she was there as well.
It's going back a bit now.
Let's go back. That's going back to Percy Thrower's books. You see, a lot of gardening books as well from the yesteryear were all written by men.
Yeah.
Percy Thrower had a lot of books. You know, he wrote a lot about gardening, but a lot of gardening books and instruction manuals and how-to were all written by
You
men.
can see why people didn't really get into gardening though, because most of them were so bloody boring that you'd be like asleep by the time you read the end of page 2, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean though?
Yeah,
the way they
of course.
how they
If
worded
it
it
didn't
all.
have a lot of illustrations,
Yeah, I want
you would-
pictures. Yeah.
I just got pictures to see how to do it.
I'd say another thing that we've noticed in the industry is a lot more young people getting into gardening now, aren't they? As well as the older generation.
Certainly become popular, hasn't it?
It has.
It's a trendy thing.
Yeah.
It's not, I dare I say the word embarrassing thing to admit that you like to garden?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think years ago it was, wasn't it? You did always say your
Yeah.
parents or your grandparents did gardening, and
Yeah.
as a young person, it wasn't something you sort of
On your
it wasn't
CV,
cool,
did you
was
put
it?
No,
gardening?
it
You
wasn't
wouldn't
cool,
have put
yeah, I
that.
think you're right there.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are coming with one with nature now. We are all part of nature. You know, us and animals, which we are, and you know, bees, butterflies, flowers,
Plants,
you know,
which are
plants in general.
living entities.
Yeah, you know, even sort of microscopic and bits and pieces,
Yeah.
bacteria. We're all, you know, we're all living.
So we need plant people, whatever the age,
Yeah. We
do.
whatever the gender.
Yeah.
really, don't we?
I mean, we're lucky to have a good, solid base of people here with experience. You know, if you add up all the number of years we have experience in our plant section
Yeah.
alone,
So how many years experience do you have?
well, it's, dare I say, 40.
Okay, how many have you got?
Similar, I would
40,
say.
so that's 80.
Yeah.
How many years have you got?
About 45.
So that's
125.
Thank you.
about 40.
Yeah.
165.
165 years of horticulture experience are sat around this table, plus
Yeah.
my 6+ months-ish, maybe.
And we're just some of the people that work here with the
Yeah.
plant knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But
It was wicked.
But it is good because every day, I mean, I consider, especially like when we get youngsters at weekends and newbies in the week and that sort of thing, I consider it, you know, it's our priority, I suppose, to teach people.
Yeah.
And whatever we can teach people, if they go home after a week and they've learnt some things, they're better and we're better.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Getting them into the industry and keeping them.
Yeah, you've got to
in the
keep
industry.
people.
I think that's all the questions for today. Shall
That's
we?
good.
Shall we have a coffee? Yeah.
Let's put
Yeah,
the kettle
coffee and
on.
biscuit.
Go on. Has anyone got any biscuits?
We've got plenty.
Amazing. Well, that's it for today. As always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.